And with that, we are ready to go. What is up, WFTN crew? Stand up. Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. Woo! We got a good one today.
Listen, so that way
We
I'm sure that is never uttered ever again. The words that come out of both of y'all losers' mouths every time we set this up. That's great.
here's the thing. Now Charlie is getting suppressed every time I fucking talk.
Oh,
Like your mic audio.
oh,
I don't.
I can try to like
We just did the.
kiss it.
Yeah,
I can try
actually,
to.
this episode's ending early, guys.
Dude,
We're
does
just
this
gonna go
help?
with it.
Does this help where I am?
Actually, that actually does help.
Okay.
A long night of technical difficulties, and if you're watching on YouTube, you could probably see that because Ben's camera is gone. He's not here. He's an avatar today, which I'm just laughing at. No, I'm good. All right. Welcome back to
No,
the
I'm good,
podcast.
thank you. No, I'm
We
good,
are
thank you.
here to talk about
Crazy, bro.
a Joker rewatch, which we did over this past week. We're talking about Joker today. Before we get into that, we'll touch on how everyone's night's going. Yeah, Ben's name now is Nam Good today. Before I get into that, like, sub, give us a rating on any audio platform that you are listening to. You can also message us. I will work on embedding that link in the YouTube description as well. But for now, it is on any audio description that you are listening to, whether it's Apple, Google, or or Spotify. And you can send us a message there, and we will read it live on the podcast. Anyone that sends a message, just include your name, and you can send a little text over, and it will go straight to us. And so, yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping.
We'll do it live. Sorry.
Charlie, how are you today?
Oh my God, bro. Of course you would ask me first, chat. That's crazy. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing
in case anything else is messed up today.
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's a wonderful day when you walk in and you were expecting to have to see Benji's face, and then you know, you just don't. You end up not having to, you know. But it sucks, you know. It feels like we're a man down, but we're really not. We're really not, especially if you listen on audio. Like nothing's changing for you.
Yeah.
You keep on having a great time driving your car, doing whatever you're doing. Pay attention to the road, though. Don't let my soothing voice get too far into your head. But you know, this is a discussion I can't say that I've been like too excited for. I mean, I did just watch the movie today, kind of put it off till the last minute.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's fine. It just means it's fresh in my mind, if anything. So, yeah, you know, it's this one's just like something that we had to do, I think, in preparation for I can never say the name of the film,
Joker
so
2.
I'm not even gonna. Yeah, Joker 2. I'm done trying. I think to say it. Maybe they'll say it. Maybe they'll do one of those things like where they have like the director sitting in front of the, like right before the movie starts, like, thank you for coming to see our movie, and then they'll say the title, and then I'll know how to say it. Once I just need to hear somebody say it once properly, and I'll know. But anyway,
still have yet to hear anyone say it.
I know. I feel like I've never.
Everyone's
like everybody's afraid to say it. Yeah. But you know, this is hopefully going to be a good discussion. I think I can guess where you two weirdos are going to lay on it. So can't wait to see if I'm right.
And the man of the hour.
Brother.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm here. Hopefully my mic is fine. This has been a heck of a night, but we're here. I am looking forward to this discussion, even if it's, you know, just so that, you know, I had a good excuse to rewatch the movie and get some discussion in. And I feel like it will help our discussion when we watch the second one and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to it. Probably more than little Charles over there. But, you know, such as it may be, that's just kind of how it goes with some of these episodes. But I'm looking forward to the discussion because I don't feel like even previously that we've really talked about this movie. And I I hadn't seen it since my original theatrical watch, which would have been like 5 years ago now, which is crazy. So nice to watch it again, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. And I can also I can make whatever facial expression that I want, and you guys will have no idea. This is great. I'm gonna love this.
Cringe. Talk about cringe, chat. Talk about cringe.
Chat.
I haven't actually pulled up any Joker details, so I'll just pull up the Rotten Tomatoes real quick. Joker came out in 2019, 69% critic score and an 89% audience score. And if you don't know about if you don't know anything about the movie, I can give you a description here, maybe. Forever alone in a crowd, failed comedian Arthur Fleck seeks connection as he walks the streets of Gotham City. Arthur wears two masks, the one he paints for his day job as a clown and the guise he projects in a futile attempt to feel like he's part of the world around him. Isolated, bullied, and disregarded by society, Fleck begins a slow descent into madness as he transforms into the criminal mastermind known as the Joker. And quick apology if you hear the two dogs are running around in the back. Yeah, 69% critic score, which is interesting because at least the Metacritic, I think, maybe the Rotten Tomatoes dropped for Joker 2 as well, but I know it was very, very mixed, regardless of where I saw it. For some early reviews, I didn't realize that it was rated that low by critics. The first movie, that is. So, very interesting that both this one and the second one were not held in high regard by critics. Not that that matters, but something to point out.
Yeah, brother. Nobody cares about critics, dog. All right. Like, calm down. Calm down. You know, I mean, that's a worry that I have going into the second one as well. But you know, we'll see. Obviously, it was a joke what I just said about critics stuff not caring, but at the same time, like
eat the words.
At the but at the same time, you know, it's also kind of still true. Like what matters is what you walk away feeling, as long as you're not letting something skew your opinion, your own true thoughts on a film. I think that everything else is fine. So, which makes me excited to talk about this, I guess. Whatever.
All right. I mean, Ben, if you don't have anything to add for critics or of the first Joker, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and get into it.
I'll just say that I think for the first one as well as the second one, I feel like a lot of it just comes down to very, I don't know if divisive is the right word about the movie, but I don't know. I definitely can understand why there would be a wide range of opinions on a film like this. And it seems like just one of those movies that people are either really into or really not into. I don't know how much that translates to the second movie, but I understand why. I mean, you know, it's still overall pretty positive, but in general, I would say that like a lot of comic book fans generally like this movie more than a lot of comic book movies. But if you're looking purely at the numbers, a 69% is like pretty low when you compare it to like almost all of the MCU. It would, you know, be underneath almost all of the films. So it is interesting to think about it in that regard. Just like in comparison to other superhero movies, it's not as easily, it's not as simple. It's not as easily digestible. I don't know. Just an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason why you see just a little bit of a difference in comparison to other superhero films.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely, I mean, forgive me if this is kind of what you had already said, but it's not your typical superhero film. So it makes sense to yes, have critics be super divided on it. If that's exactly what you just said, I apologize. But without further ado, we can get in our thoughts. I will go over the awards really quick because I would be remiss if I didn't at least touch on them. 2020 nominee for Best Motion Picture of the Year, 2020 nominee for Best Achievement in Directing and Best Achievement in Cinematography, both nominees. A nominee for Best Adapted Screenplay, and a 2020 Oscar-winning performance, Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role by Joaquin Phoenix. So just to touch on how monumental this movie was, I think also crossed $1 billion at the box office. Was that the record for a rated R movie before Deadpool?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, it was the only R-rated to hit $1 billion before Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. What was the, because there were also, when Deadpool and Wolverine was popping off, there was, I think it was called like The Passion of Christ or something.
Something like
What
that.
was, that was, what, because it broke that record, but I don't know what that record was.
I think that was the record, but that movie came out in like 2003 or 2004.
Yeah, I know it's an old one. Maybe it was like the domestic record or something.
Oh, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
know it was something specific.
worldwide, Joker was the only film to cross $1 billion.
Oh, Oppenheimer, but it didn't hit $1 billion.
Yeah, Oppenheimer was close.
Yeah.
But then Deadpool and Wolverine just shattered it. Or not really shattered, but it broke it.
All 3 Deadpool movies are in the top 5, and then it's Joker and Oppenheimer. So, but you're right, Charlie. The Passion of Christ was 10. That only had 600 million. So I don't know. I don't know what you were smoking, brother.
I think it was number one
I
at
think
the
it was,
time of its release.
And I think it still held like the most money domestic.
Oh yeah. That's what you were just saying. Yeah, this is. I was looking at worldwide gross.
So like Joker crossed $1 billion worldwide, but most of that was like internationally or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, without further ado, I think it's time to get into our thoughts on this movie. Does anyone want to go first, or do you just not care?
I think Charlie should go first.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Why is the boy with
because I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
No, hold up,
you're
bro.
A hater. You're a
no. I was
hater.
about to say, why does the boy with no cam get to decide who goes first, bro? Just take a back seat, boy, and calm your ass down. All right, I don't know who you think you talking to. That's crazy.
He's giggling right now. I can hear it.
Yeah, sure. I would love to go. I would love to go. Truthfully, how do I really put my true thoughts into my feelings, actually, into thoughts about this film? I enjoyed it in 2019 when I saw it for the first time, and I believe, like Benji, this was the first time I had seen it since 2019. Maybe I had done one rewatch. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Now, though, I struggled to find a reason to care. I think for me, I just struggled to find certain. And are we going full spoiler? Yeah, no, it's a 5-year-old film. So, spoilers ahead in case you care. But I struggled to find like what service a lot of things in the film served. Well, not a lot, actually. I shouldn't use that word. Specifically, like what was the point of him imagining Zazie Beetz' character, imagining him dating her? Like, I didn't see how that serviced Arthur's character in any way, which this did seem like a more character-driven film. I will say I understand the idea behind the film. I think like it's a commentary on how we treat the mentally ill, and as well as maybe like a classic Joker type tale of like too many bad things adding up at once, causing him to snap, kind of thing. I think it blends that very well. I love the cinematography, fantastic cinematography. Beautiful. And it looks like that's carrying over into the second one. I remember everybody was freaking out after the first trailer of that shot of, I think, Harley with the lipstick drawing the smile on the glass, and then his mouth meeting that. Can't wait. It's gonna be great stuff. The soundtrack as well, really good. The original score, really good. Um, a lot of great technical things with this movie for me. And I don't dislike the film, the story, the plot, or anything like that. I think it's very cohesive. I think it works well. It's just like I don't know if it. I guess the best way to put it is like well-worn territory. It seemed like it didn't do it. Like, and I didn't. Not that it should be expected to, but it didn't do anything new with this idea of mental illness. I don't think, it just like a mentally ill guy just went crazy and started killing. And I don't want to say that the film tried to use what happened to him as like justification for his actions. Um, but I also don't think that they did a particularly good job of demonstrating how they were bad in that universe. Because like he's praised for it at the end of the film, like the entire city of Gotham. And maybe that's more of a commentary on like society as a whole, putting these kind of terrible people up on a pedestal, or whoever, what the director deems as a terrible person, maybe uh in terms of real life. But like I look at things that happen in the film, and it's almost like they want me to feel justified for Arthur, like
Mhm.
shooting the Wall Street guys. They were beating his ass. Like granted, they probably weren't going to kill him, but you know, self-defense, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, and then the way that I guess that ties into, I was going to talk about the TV show appearance on the Murray show. That ties into what I said about the crowd cheering him on and celebrating him for being like the going against the grain kind of idea, or going against the rich, I should say. But I don't know. I struggled to find the idea that this was like a very productive movie. Not that every movie needs to be productive. I don't know, man. It's I'm really struggling to put it into words, like
Yeah.
the way I genuinely feel in my mind with how things played out. Still, I think it was great. It was satisfactory. Everything that happened in the film, it all made sense. I haven't even talked about Joaquin Phoenix's um my cat just came in. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, fantastic. It never felt like I was watching Joaquin. Like I was fully absorbed. Like this is a mentally ill dude, and like I feel like it's hard to necessarily play like a fake laugh, and he plays it as like a condition, and he does immaculately well with it. Truthfully, it's fantastic. But I enjoyed it. If I had to give it uh, a star rating, or an out of 5 rating, I'd give it a a good 3.5 out of 3.5 out of 5, probably. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't fantastic for me by any means. And I feel like I felt like it was. I feel like I remember feeling like it was fantastic in 2019, and so I could be wrong though. It was 5 years ago, so I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah,
To your point of the uh the character of Sophie and the role she played in there,
Mhm.
I felt like that was just a way to, and I could be wrong, but I feel like that was kind of Todd Phillips kind of confirming, or not even, maybe confirming isn't the right word. I feel like it was at least him being like, hey, look, some of this stuff could just be in his head. Which, I mean, if you've paid close attention to the movie, if you've paid close attention to like the breakdowns and discourse around the movie, you know that there is a theory that this entire thing is made up by Arthur Fleck, who is a patient in a mental hospital, and it shines through at the end of the movie when she says, "What are you laughing at?" And he says, "Oh, you wouldn't get it." And you know, the clocks and you know, all this stuff. You can go watch a New Rockstars video if you want to know more about it. But you know, the whole he imagined this entire thing. I feel like that was kind of Todd Phillips being like, "Oh, if it wasn't already clear in the first hour and a half of the movie, here's this at the end to kind of be like, he imagined this whole relationship with this girl. What else could he have possibly imagined throughout this whole movie?" Such as I had taken some notes of moments I saw where uh, obviously the first scene of him watching Murray live with his mom, and it zooms into him like talking to Murray on stage, and Murray kind of giving him some reassurance. I wrote in my notes, I feel like this was our first glimpse at seeing him create this fictional world of acceptance in his life. Um, Another part of this is later on, his mom says he needs to be funny to do stand up. And then Sophie later on tells him, "Oh, yeah, I think you're pretty funny." And so it kind of seems like he's just creating all these things to give himself some hope and some reassurance, which, I mean, this movie is sad as shit. This movie is very depressing. Even just taking that. But yeah, there's a lot of things like that which could come from his abuse as a kid, could come from like, you know, just being abandoned by society, you know, the whole like meme that's become this movie. Um him creating this world in his head. And so I think that scene was just kind of to be like, she does nothing. I don't want to say she does nothing for his character because obviously, I don't know. She is kind of just used as a vice to be like, hey, look, he can make these stories up. But I feel like you don't need that scene in there. You know, like I feel like that's implied enough, even just with that scene of him talking to Murray on stage at the beginning of the movie.
Can I jump in here?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was gonna, just while we're specifically on the topic, then we can get a general thought.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Because when Charlie posed it, I did want to give my explanation, and I do think that scene was really necessary. And my reasoning that I kind of tie it back to is that there's other themes in the movie that kind of directly relate to that. The most prominent one being with his mother's relationship to Thomas Wayne and how she had this perception of a relationship with him, and she was delusional about it throughout the film as well. And so, at least for me, as Arthur is going on his journey of kind of becoming self-aware of the, in a way, like, you know, the evil, quote unquote, evil inside of him, which is him just, you know, releasing his feeling of just agony against the world, but taking it out in a violent way. As he's kind of realizing these things and becoming self-aware of that side of him, he's almost understanding from a mental perspective that he is messed up, but he's accepting it. And so I kind of pair like him realizing that his relationship with Sophie was never real, and also, you know, learning that Thomas Wayne isn't his father, is just kind of like his reality is shattering, and then he's embracing the chaos and the craziness, and just like still almost, it adds to him like taking it out on the world, and just like him having this grudge against everything and everybody and how he's treated and whatnot. So I don't think that it's like a, like, I don't point to his relationship as with Sophie as a singular thing, because I think that directly tied as well to his mother, and obviously him like killing her off and, you know, confronting Thomas Wayne and all of that kind of closed that section. And then when, you know, he quote unquote confronts Sophie, if you want to put it that way, but when they have their interaction, it's also him just still realizing that, like, you know, everything is not as it seems, and kind of understanding himself, and then just embracing that darker side of him. So I think there's a little bit more justification for that specific scene given some of the other things in the movie. But like, I generally, like, I can understand where you guys are coming from. I didn't think of it as something that felt too out of place personally.
The only thing I guess I would say to that is because like the relationship doesn't start in his head until after he kills the guys, and so like I think if I remember correctly, there's like as soon as he kills those guys, he goes back to the apartment and then imagines storming up to her door and then making out with her.
Yeah.
And so it's I would determine that as like this doing this kind of evil act gives him that high, right? Where he feels like he's on top of the world. So then I guess in that manner I can understand why if he comes to that realization that not if, but when he does come to the realization that this relationship with her wasn't real, then he wants to go do more evil acts to get this high that he got right afterwards, maybe.
Which is
But
a really good point. I do like that because right after he does that is when everyone in Gotham celebrates him. Which again, if that's just something
that's
in
fair.
his head, it could just be him imagining being on top of the world after literally killing someone on live TV. So
Yeah,
I do
that's
like
fair.
that point.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do. I just want to say I pulled up the movie just so I could verify this, but he does have an interaction with Sophie prior to the murder. He has a couple of interactions.
sure. Yeah, no,
They
yeah,
have the
yeah.
moment in the elevator, he stalks her, and then he does show up to her apartment and invite her to the comedy club before the events take place where he kills the three guys on the subway.
But that could still be like just
The comedy club
completely.
thing has to be in his head. I feel like I feel like that's
I don't
that's
think.
an in his head thing.
I think the cheering and everything was well, they show it. They show that he actually bombed on stage, but everyone in his head, everyone was cheering and laughing and clapping for him. But I do think that him inviting her inviting her to the comedy club, the interaction at the in the elevator, there's a very good chance that that is all like that did actually happen if we're talking about the sense of like him imagining other things. I feel like that did actually happen, but he only started imagining it going further when well, I guess if the stalking happened before he killed the bad guys, because I
Well,
couldn't imagine her being like, "Oh yeah, you were stalking me," like you know.
because when he finds out that like this whole thing was fake, like he's in her apartment, and if that's real, him inviting her, you would assume that they like know each other's names. But she says to him like, "Your name is Arthur, right?" And like you live with your mom down the hall. Like that doesn't seem like if they've
Yeah,
talked before, that doesn't seem like the kind of interaction that would happen there. Like that was very
yeah,
much like a like obviously the elevator thing is a like that's an type of interaction where like there's no names. That's like where if you're just walking in the grocery store and you're checking out, somebody's behind you, they say something
yeah.
mildly funny, you crack a little light joke, go on your way. You don't need to get exchange names, anything like that. But then that where he goes out of his way to invite her to a comedy club, you feel like that they would like know each other to a certain extent, you know? So that's why I say
Yeah.
that the comedy club invite had to be in his head as well.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
it's hard. Go for it, Ben. Go for it.
I would agree with that because in my mind, him doing that is like in a way, like to him, that's where the quote unquote relationship started was, hey, do you want to come see my comedy? Is kind of like, where he starts to form that relationship. So if the relationship is fake, then it would make sense that that was all in his head as well.
Yeah, I do definitely believe that scene in the elevator was not in his head. Because again,
Yeah.
that just seems like a regular, like, oh, this place is a dump. Like, oh yeah, like gun to your head.
Because that's what starts the obsession. And
Yeah,
like Ben mentioned, where he goes and stalks her after that.
yeah. And so I think even that conversation of her being like, "Were you stalking me?" Yeah, which is when he invites her to the comedy club,
They
and
showed that one was
he
fake.
says, "That's
Yeah.
funny." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Um, but anyways, I don't know. I guess to get into my thoughts, I guess I'll go second. To get into my thoughts on the movie, I mean, it's okay. Like it's fine. Like it's not as amazing as I remembered it being. I'm not as high on it as I was when I first saw it. I can still praise the whole in his head versus not in his head. I think that is such a cool way. It's such a fascinating way to tell a story, because there were a lot of moments where if you were to take this movie as Arthur's perspective is, all true, him and his mom, like Thomas Wayne screwed her over and kind of threw them to the curb, and now he wants to get his revenge on him and he wants to start an uproar. Thomas Wayne and the Wayne family are the villain, and Joker and his mom are the ones that are trying to get back. Like, okay, cool, that's one way to tell a story. But if you look at it to where Joker is the one with the mental illness and is fabricating these stories, and his mom obviously isn't in the right headspace either and wasn't ever really in the right headspace, and they came up with all of these stories and tricked themselves into starting a whole uproar and going after innocent people like Thomas Wayne and his family. Like, there's two completely different ways to view this movie, and it regardless it fucks you up either way. It's either a story about a family that's slowly deteriorating. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A family that's just slowly, going into madness and screwing their lives up, or it's a movie about the elite like Thomas Wayne just crushing the lower class, and the lower class making an uproar and fighting back. Either way, it's a depressing fucking movie, and I don't think it's aged well. Especially the monologue at the end. It's a great monologue. It's an iconic scene when he is yelling at Murray. Yeah, like, it's a great scene, but the I don't know. This might be bad to say, but, like, again, I'm just talking about this as a movie. What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that, like,
hates him.
it's just like, I don't know. It just kind of screamed like edgelord to me, and I was just like, man. And I know it's the memes. I know it's like, the society memes, like it just hasn't really like aged all that well. But again, I think it kind of is just like, it's hard to describe. And I'm so happy that you said, like, you were struggling to find the words to describe, like, kind of like your, like, problems, or like how you feel, how the movie left you feeling, because, like, I kind of felt the same way. I wasn't like, man, this is awesome, I'm so glad I rewatched this is a great movie, but I also wasn't like, man, this is bad, like, this is really bad. I was just kind of like in the middle, and I'm like, nothing happened, but at the same time, like, they did tell a great story. It's so weird, it's so odd, and the fact that it left me feeling like that after the movie, I can't go higher than like a 3.5. I can't go higher than like a 7 out of 10. It just isn't as great as I remember it. Again, I can appreciate the storytelling, the way they went about telling this story. I can appreciate the change of perspective with Arthur and Thomas Wayne, or like being in the head of a mentally ill person and how they perceive the world. I can appreciate all of that. It's just like, it's just not amazing. It's not a phenomenal movie. It's not the 2019 Joker that I remember it being. It's just a movie, an odd, weird movie.
Just a
I don't know.
I think I'll start off by just saying, like, originally, and I like just checked on this because I didn't remember what I had rated it originally, and not that I like rated it back in 2019, because I don't even think I had Letterboxd necessarily at that point. But whenever I went in and did my rating of the film, I gave it 4 stars, and I think upon rewatch, I think I'm kind of with you guys that I'd probably go 3.5, maybe 4. I'm still a little undecided, I think, on it. I think I don't feel as conflicted as you guys, because I do think that I can explain some of my thoughts, but I understand the sentiment about why it's like kind of a mixed bag of what we get and why, it's not a movie that any of us particularly love or remember fondly. And speaking of remembering fondly, like that monologue at the end, like I remember in the theater, it felt like such a big moment. And like upon rewatch, you know what's about to happen. And I don't know, for me, the monologue, like it felt it felt so in character for Arthur, even if it was a little, you know, like you said, kind of edgelord. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it's
It
not like
isn't.
we're
Yeah.
getting some crazy like, Homelander moment or something with a speech, right? Like we're
Yeah.
talking about a very different character having this moment. So, um, but anyways, there's a lot of things that I could point to that have kind of already been brought up. Joaquin Phoenix, absolutely phenomenal in the role, the cinematography, the score. And then when it comes to like issues, it is hard to point to like a specific thing that's necessarily wrong with the movie. It's more so kind of what you guys have been vocalizing, just that like there's not this like grand purpose or overarching compelling story that kind of drives the narrative. It really is you're just watching this character on his journey. And I think to a certain extent, the movie does that, and in some cases does it very well. And Joaquin Phoenix does that phenomenally. But that doesn't always have enough to grab onto, I think. There's not like enough substance there to where it feels super memorable to the audience, or at least for us. Um, and there are other movies that I can point to that like they do similar things with the characters, but then they also have more of a story and more of a driving factor. Maybe not like, not like fully, but an example would be like American Psycho. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
watched American Psycho,
Yeah.
but I would kind of relate Christian Bale's character similarly to like a Joker type. And he goes on a journey, and it's a very much like a psychological movie. Um, but I would argue that that actually has more like structure and story, and more of like, a beginning and an end, learning about this character, and it just has a little bit more substance to it. So something like that, where like you can see that they can still do the same character work, and they can still, show this overarching um, just the story for Arthur Fleck, but they can do that while also giving it a little bit more substance, which from the early reviews that we've gotten for Joker 2, it sounds like we get a little bit more of the same, where we're kind of just like still following Arthur on his journey. And
Mm.
it's just that Harley Quinn's there now. And so if it's literally just more of the same, where, a lot of stuff happens and like, he evolves as a character, but there's like nothing else really going on, I feel like the second movie would be like significantly worse if it does the same thing again. Like I'm fine with it for this film, it's done pretty well, but if you just keep repeating this, like I don't think that that works. You need to justify something more. Um so I like this movie. It definitely, like I remember a lot of people loving it when it first came out. I don't know where people stand on it now, to be honest. I haven't really seen many people talk about it recently when it comes to like talking about comic book movies, but I do like it, and I'm glad that I rewatched it even just to have the context going into the second film. But I can understand why it's such a divisive film, just because it is so different, just being a character study and not having a super well written narrative just underlining everything to actually drive the story forward. But anyways, I think you guys get my stance. That's where I will leave my general thoughts.
It's actually crazy because I completely forgot. Like this started a whole meme, bro. Like of like X movie or X show is my Joker. Like it started. I
Yeah.
forgot that it started like a whole different like that
Yeah.
lasted for at least a good 2 or 3 years, man. where
Well,
people would say like, "This is my Joker,"
yeah.
because
Well,
like
and
how many people loved it.
that's the thing. Like I listened to this one podcast where they would talk about movies every week. Um, just strictly just talking about new releases, old releases, and they hated this movie. Like it would always be their movie they could go back on and talk shit. Like they would always be like, at least this ain't Joker, and they just like roast it to oblivion. And so I would always listen and be like, am I missing something? Like I think Joker's like a great comic book. Like it's like in my top 10, top 15, like whatever. I was so I like always thought back on it so fondly. And I guess that's just like a difference, a difference in opinion of people that walked out of the theater feeling like us first time, or people that walked out of the theater feeling like us, like back then, our first time walking out. And so, it's interesting that this movie had that much power over everyone, that it's able to just spark crazy discussions like that. It's interesting to see what happens when the second one comes out.
Talking about it as a comic book film first. Now I want to talk about it a little bit. I love what it does with Gotham to an extent.
You fucker. Okay, to an extent. I had in my notes, I love that it's an origin story for Gotham too. Like just leaving Gotham on that note, and like that's the Gotham Batman has to like protect and avenge, and I was like, I hope no one else brings that up, because I was like, man, this is awesome. And I never really heard anyone else like really talk about Gotham. And like how Gotham is left off about this movie. It was always Joker and everything. So I hate that you brought that up. I hate that you brought that up
because you wanted to bring it up. Oh.
Yes, I wanted to bring it up first. But please,
because like for exactly like what you're saying, because I feel like it perfectly sets up like why Gotham is such a, or becomes such a crime-ridden town, because this is city, because this is a city full of like, I don't know, maybe we can call them idiots, because they're putting a murderer up on a pedestal for standing up to the rich or whatever. He's the poster child for revolution in their mind. And so now there's a whole subset of people that cling to this ideology of this is the right way to go about handling higher ups in authority or status and class, and so that I think begins because obviously throughout the film there's other things, like there's super rats in Gotham, and then there's shots of like there's trash all over the city and whatnot. Like obviously Gotham was at the very least on the decline beforehand, but I think the events of the film do a great job of showing it how it like drops off a cliff from there, and it's almost poetic that not the inciting incident, but the inciting incident causes Gotham to plummet is also the thing that causes Bruce to lose his parents. I think that's really well done as well. And it sucks that we're not going to see like a future with this Batman. And I know that they've said that this Joker isn't like the Joker in the comics or something like that. And there's been thoughts about how like this Joker is going to inspire the real Joker because Bruce is 10 years old in this universe or whatever. Which, I think those are valid discussions to be had, but I think there's no way in hell James Gunn is going to let 3 different Batmans be going on at once, So I don't think that there's going to be any fruit bared from that tree, but it's still, I as far as like, if it were, I think this is a great starting point, a great prequel to that, like walking into that and understanding this and how it all came to be, like that's, and it's, I don't know, I can't praise it enough, truthfully. That's strictly from the comic book lens, and I'm not even like the DC kind of guy, so I can't really speak to Gotham as much, especially Batman. I don't know if you guys saw a little side note real quick. Batman apparently is going to be the first superhero to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't know if you guys saw that, and I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
I
like
did see
actually
that.
official, but like Batman, brother, Batman.
I
Is
didn't know.
he-
I saw that. I didn't know he was the first though.
Do you not think he's what are your qualms with that?
Batman, brother.
He wants Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, but because
I
okay, well,
think
listen.
Batman is
Hold on, no.
okay, go for it, go for it,
Before
go
you
for
start
it.
fucking yapping away like a little
Go for
yapper,
it.
you are. All right, Spider-Man. You cannot tell me that Spider-Man is not more popular than Batman. For one, the I would also take. I also want to preface before I go deeper. I would have rather taken Superman over Batman as well.
Mhm.
Batman, they're all top three for me. Don't get me wrong; they're all top three favorites. Batman is third, though. Batman is absolutely third. Spider-Man's number one. I think the problems with Batman for me is that I actually no. The problems with this decision for me. What is it based around? I would love to know what the criteria is because then I feel like I can't fully attack it like I want to, but I can attack it a little bit because why is it because we have so many Batman films? So there's so many iterations of the character. Is that why? And so is that why Hollywood deems it deems him one of the greats or whatever? I don't know any other fictional characters that are on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at all. I can't tell you if they're like I don't know Winnie the Pooh's on there, Peter Pan maybe I don't know, but Batman, bro, the first superhero. Really, that's the one you're gonna put on there. Why? If anything, like why not put Superman? Was he not one of the actual first superheroes that to be created way back? I don't even know when Superman was created. Fake. See, this is why I say I'm not a DC fan. But like, bro, that makes so much more sense to me. I would not be throwing a hissy fit right now if it was Superman. I'll tell
All
you that
right,
much.
here I'll read you the list of fictional characters with the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Alvin and the Chipmunks, Big Bird, Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, Kermit, Godzilla, Pee Wee Herman, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, the Munchkins, the Muppets, Winnie the Pooh, Rugrats, Shrek, The Simpsons, Snoopy, Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Woody Woodpecker.
Bro.
Actors with their character name inscribed below: Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger. He's the only one that got like a name and character, I guess. Live action animals: Lassie, Rin Tin Tin, Strongheart. Um, and then corporate entities: Disneyland and Chevrolet Suburban. Here's the thing.
Maybe I take back my hissy fit because it doesn't seem like a very high criteria to get on the
It
Hollywood
doesn't.
Walk.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But for him to be the first
As soon as you
superhero,
said Alvin and the Chipmunks.
yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay.
The fact that Batman is being added after Alvin and the Chipmunks, insane.
well,
whatever.
I think Superman would have been my first pick.
Better. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think if you were to do any first superhero, not only is he more iconic, but just what he stands for is
Like people
a lot.
think superheroes, they think Superman.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Superman
Superman.
is the person that every hero I would hope would want to be. I don't like absolutely hate Batman because again, it's like he is in the big three. I mean, his most iconic.
Yeah,
heroes
obviously.
ever. I don't like absolutely hate it. I don't have like
I
a
still
gripe
think
with it.
sorry to cut you off, but in terms of like iconic,
Mhm.
obviously I think it goes Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, but I think Spider-Man and Batman are interchangeable.
Yeah, I would agree.
In terms of popularity, Spider-Man 100%. You cannot change my mind.
yeah,
Can't change my mind.
I agree.
Like
If
Spider-Man
you're a
has
teenage
so much
kid,
media going for him right now. Like there's no way that he is
Yeah.
not the most popular, at least right now.
if you're a teenage boy, there's at least 80% of teenage boys out there that, or little kids that would want to be Spider-Man if they could have it their way. I want to be Spider-Man. I told my girlfriend my fiance, we went to New York, and I was like, I have never wanted to be Spider-Man more in my entire life. Like, it was literally to the point where I was like, I hope when I die, I can just be reincarnated into any universe and I could pick Peter Parker. Like, seriously.
I know we're
But
going off on
anyways.
tangents right now. One last thing I want to say, bro. Dude, in high school, there was one time where I genuinely got super sad because I could I was like, I want to be Spider-Man so bad, but it's not possible in this unit. Like I genuinely was sad, not like cry sad, but like, and not like borderline depression. I don't want to like take away from people who actually have depression, but like, dude, I was like bottom of the barrel walking around school that day, bro. I was like, fuck, man, I want to be Spider, but like, it's just not possible.
I still sometimes just get like
Yeah,
sad.
I
I'm
feel
just
it.
like,
No,
I wish
yeah.
I could be Spider-Man.
Bro, Charlie, I know you were crying.
Oh my god, bro! Look at no cam head ass talking to us right now, bro. No camera head ass trying to talk to me. Shut your mouth, boy. Shut your mouth.
Back in this universe, I did want to say this is the second Brian Tyree Henry movie that we've covered in the past 3 weeks. I had no idea.
I was in this.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked.
This is, and my girlfriend and I just recently watched Atlanta. And so I loved seeing Zazie Beetz and Brian Tyree Henry in here. Yeah. I thought that was fantastic because I hadn't watched it before when I saw it in theaters the first time. So,
yeah,
great stuff.
Yeah. Ben, was there any? Me and Charlie just went on like crazy tangents there, and so I want to make sure there wasn't anything you wanted to.
No, on the topic of like Gotham / Batman, I guess. Yeah, I think I like that the movie wasn't too in your face when it comes to like the references or relying too much on Batman. Obviously, Thomas Wayne was a pretty big part of it, but I honestly think that was like utilized well enough, considering, or even like utilized very well, considering we haven't really. I see your reaction, Charlie.
No, it's your microphone, brother. It's like it works. It's going in and out, bro. Like bro, it'll work for like 3 seconds really well, and then it'll sound like a robot.
Is it? Oh my gosh. Do I just need to shut up? Is that?
No, I mean, I think finish your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's why I was just I was just making faces.
I was hoping that it fixed itself so we could just
So I think Thomas Wayne was used very
brother.
No,
I don't think we're getting any of that, pal. I don't think we're getting any of what you just said. I don't think it's coming through at all.
Oh, it's better.
Damn, bro. Talk again?
You hear me?
Yeah.
It was a little iffy there at the end.
Is it better or no?
Hum the Zelda song into the mic.
I'm not humming the Zelda song. Can you just tell me if it's good or not?
It's not good. Not good, pal. Not good. I'll just try it. I'll let you try to fix your stuff. I wanted to talk about also a little bit in terms of like keeping it in line with the handling of it from a comic book perspective, the handling of the Joker himself. And I feel like this might have contributed to why I thought the movie was just okay this time, and maybe why I liked it a lot more in 2019. I'm sick of the Joker now. I think I'm kind of tired of the Joker.
Yeah.
And that kind of worries me for Matt Reeves' universe as well. We got a little bit of a tease of Barry Keoghan's portrayal, and obviously I hate the design of that one off the rip, I'll say. But I don't want to talk about the Matt Reeves Batman too long. I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but just in combination, like I don't know, I can't even tell you how many different iterations of the Joker we've gotten since then. And I'm somebody who I love DC animated films as well, so I watch those, and there's a lot of Joker in that stuff too. But we also got the Snyder cut officially from between Joker coming out and where we are now, and Joker was in that for a little bit. And so, and of course I'm sick and tired of that Joker, because it's like I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I really feel like 2008, The Dark Knight. Dude? Who played the Joker in that? I forget his name. I know his name, but I forget. Heath Ledger. Thank you so much. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyway, R.I.P. for real. I feel like that sort of started like a renaissance of the Joker in a way. Also mix that with the Arkham video games, the Batman Arkham video games. Joker is prominent in all three of those fucking games, bro. and like I get it, I do, and he's not. Granted, he's spoilers for these games if you guys care, but he's dead in the third one. Granted, but he's still in Batman's head. Bro, like he's in Batman's head, and he's throughout the entire game, you know. And it's like I'm just tired. Like I don't think I was as tired of the Joker back in 2019, but I think I was getting there. And like now there are so many other characters. Like this is one of the great discussions of comics, of comic characters, I should say. The rogues gallery that Batman has is so vast. And I get that Joker's great. Joker can be great. There's lots of great stories you can tell with the Joker. Let's give somebody else a shot. Let's give somebody, and I think it also falls in line with, there's been a lot of discussion this week talking about the Matt Reeves universe as well, probably because the Penguin show starts next week. But and the inability or the distaste for the supernatural, the bombastic when it comes to Batman, and I don't want to say hyper grounded because I don't think that applies, but just grounded. I wanted to say hyper grounded because of how often Batman is portrayed in a grounded sense. But I think that falls in line with that ideology, wanting to keep Batman grounded and picking his more grounded villains. And obviously the Joker is one of, if not the most grounded villain of Batman's forte. And I don't want to, I hate using the word lazy, but it's getting to a point where it feels lazy. And not that I'm saying that that's lazy for this movie, because obviously this movie is 5 years old. I didn't care as much while watching this. And I think that lean into like what Aiden said about it not aging well. And it's because my tiredness of the Joker helped it not age well for me specifically. So I don't know. Like Matt Reeves Batman one more time. I'd love to see, and there's rumors I think we saw this week that there's going to be like a blue theming for the film and whatnot. Give me Mr. Freeze. Give me Mr. Freeze, bro.
I don't know if you saw that tweet this week where someone was like blue theme, like winter. There's only one villain I can think of, an ice covered Joker.
I did not see that. That's awesome.
I was like, wouldn't put it past them. Like seriously,
that's awesome, bro.
I watched this last night with my fiance, and when Joker was first on screen, she was like, "Oh, is this the Joker that died, or is this the one that died?" And I was like, "Well, who are you talking about? Like the Joker, the actor?" Like, and she was like, "The Joker. Is this the one that had died after filming?" And I was like, "Oh, just to only know one, like just to be in your." I was like, "No, this is one of many, unfortunately." But I think, and that's nothing against Joaquin. I think again, he plays he's a phenomenal actor. He is an amazing freaking actor, like top tier, and he plays a wonderful Joker here, and he has the performance of a lifetime. It's just this character, man. Did we even need a Joker movie? Do we even need a second one? And that's another thing. It's like you go so hard on the change on like the perspective here, and the like, is this all in his head? And I think that's perfect for a standalone Joker movie. I think that's great. You can, like I've been saying, you can look at it both ways. This entire story could just be something that he fabricated in that mental hospital. An entire story of his, which again at the end he says, "What's so funny you wouldn't get it?" And you do so much to make this a movie that you can view in two different ways. So then you see it makes you $1 billion and you turn around and you're like, here's a sequel. So then it's like what? Like you're just tucking your tail between your legs and abandoning all of the thought-provoking things that made this movie so interesting to as a standalone, and you're just, oh no, nope, this all did actually happen. Forget the clocks in there, forget the scene of him hinting at that this could be all in his head. This is all true, like it, and it's just I don't think
Is
it's
my
needed.
mic okay?
It's good.
Yap a little bit.
It
Yap a
chopped a little bit,
Yap
but
a little bit. Is it good enough or no?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good enough. Yeah.
It's good. It's
Okay.
good.
Just because I've heard you say that before, Aiden. I think when we were talking about this episode,
Mhm.
and my response would just be like, even though we're getting a second movie, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything was real. It
Yeah.
could just be that this next storyline is also an extension of, the illusion that he has, his mental instability and whatnot. And that we're just like seeing that continued and furthered.
Yeah.
I think obviously there's some things that bridge the gap between not real and reality. And so we don't fully know like what all is happening in the real world. But I don't think that them making a second movie is saying, yeah, it all happened. I don't think that's what that
Yeah.
means necessarily.
That is true. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I mean, it's just all up to what they do in the second one. And again, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to another, I guess, a movie like this. I'm not opposed to a sequel exploring these same themes as the first one. Um, I just don't want them to backtrack any of what made this movie so um, admirable in the first place. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. I will say one of the funniest moments in the entire movie for me is he's sitting in the apartment after he killed Randall, and Gary's just like standing there freaking out, and he's like, "Have you ever seen Murray or Live with Murray?" He was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I'm gonna be on tonight," and then out of nowhere, he says, "It's fucking crazy, isn't it? Me on the telly." I was just like, where did you pull that out of? And he's just like, "Oh, Gary, you're good to go." And then he jumps and scares him before he leaves. I was like, bro, leave him alone. Leave this man alone. I thought that was the funniest scene. I was like, oh, okay, we just took
Me
a
on the
huge shift.
telly.
And it's
Me
fucking
on the
crazy. isn't it?
telly.
Me on the telly. I was like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah, man. I don't know. It bums me out, as I mentioned before, with certain aspects that like we're not going to see the entirety of this DC universe fleshed out. But also, I'm just so disinterested in this. Not so disinterested, I should say. I shouldn't say that. Just this one element of it because of Joker saturation now. I'm talking my feelings now. Back then I would have told you like I would have loved to have seen this whole thing fleshed out. I would have loved to somehow have stretched Joaquin's Joker as the main Joker for Bruce kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. It's just I'm excited for the sequel, right? I'm excited to see what Lady Gaga can do because I don't know what else she's been in other than A Star Is Born. Maybe that was her only other thing, but I have not seen A Star Is Born. So I'm excited. And I think she got a lot of praise for that. So I'm excited to see what she can do here as Harley Quinn. As somebody who's not like super attached to Harley Quinn, I don't think I'll be able to give like a very nuanced conversation on the way she portrays Harley Quinn in an accurate way or not. But I'll just try to enjoy it for what's there. And I'm also interested in the musical aspect of this to see how much of a role it plays. And I wonder if they're gonna leave it as you guys were just talking about, leave it in such a way, or just build it in such a way. I'll say that leans into the fact that this could all be inside of his head, or if they'll make that definitive one way or the other. Because, like, do you think they make a third one? I guess if this one makes uber bucks, maybe. But
I've heard the answer to that is no. Like
okay,
they officially said that Arthur's story is done.
okay. I could see that being this. Like, I'm sure James Gunn wants it that way. I'm sure. So
Yeah.
I mean, that does bring into question how much, like, because James Gunn is quote unquote overseeing, DC, the DC universe, but how much say does he actually have in if like a Joker 3 is made, or if Matt Reeves' Batman movies keep getting made? And I don't know how much James Gunn fully has say in like approving projects like that.
It's true.
I thought he was specifically spearheading the new DC universe. So kind of like, the MCU, but for DC, if you want to look at it that way. I don't know that he has much. I mean, he has
a knowledge at least.
Yeah. He's aware, but I don't know how much oversight he actually has in these other projects.
I wanted to ask y'all, how do you view this movie? Do you think that I guess I probably already know y'all's answer, but I'll ask anyways. Do you think that Thomas Wayne screwed over his family and him, and that he is Batman's stepbrother or half brother, or do you think that it's all in Joker's head?
I think that's in Joker's head and in his mom's head, and I think that they did a good job of showing that with when he took the files from Arkham State Hospital, which is Arkham Asylum. Because I was wondering, not wondering, I guess I didn't remember if they showed actual clips of that as well, but they show the clips of his mom when she was younger, getting interviewed by one of the employees at the state hospital, or maybe it was a representative of Wayne. I don't know. The way he was discussing things, it sounded like he could be from Wayne, I guess, Wayne Tech or whatever it's called. But because she had the bruises on her, she had a black eye that was like halfway healed to support the fact that she had like another boyfriend that was abusing Arthur and her. And I think that guy mentioned like the adoption papers and whatnot of her adopting Arthur. So I wonder if now that since you bring that up, shut up. Since you bring that up, I wonder if they're actually gonna dive into like Arthur's real parents in the sequel at all, or anything like that. So
or confirm or deny. Because I know I like that they keep it kind of open. They don't ever fully, because she automatically, which I guess you can just assume, okay, she is mentally ill, and that debunks the fact. But they purposely add in the point of her being like, these are adoption papers that show that you adopted Arthur. And she was like, no, Thomas pulled his strings to just so that he can keep it suppressed. So they make a point to keep it open a little bit. I just figured I'd ask what y'all kind of thought, because I know I had a buddy that I had watched this movie with a while back, and he was like, yo, Joker and Batman are half brothers, and I was like, yeah, dude, that's fucking crazy, isn't it? And then looking back now, it's like, oh well, kind of just like not true, depending on how you look at the movie. So I figured that out.
I think I view it as his mother is not mentally well, just like him, and that she was fabricating some sort of story in her own mind, which maybe made life a little easier when you have this hope that you think Thomas Wayne is going to come and rescue you and whatnot. So I view it in that light, and I definitely don't view it that they have any relation with one another.
Cool. Yeah, I would agree. I figured y'all felt that way. I just figured I'd ask.
Don't
Is
figure
there
out how I
any?
think, bro. Don't figure out how I think, dog.
Well, I know how to like stoop down to that level of
Stoop
mindset.
down.
So, is there anything else that we wanted to discuss?
If my mic's been fine, I'll finish my little point from
Yes, go for
earlier.
it. Yeah.
I was gonna say I really like how Thomas Wayne was used in this movie because he's like in Batman films, he's always just been, he's dead, and then Bruce has motivation for his character arc and whatnot. So I actually like that they utilize the fact that I guess Matt Reeves, the Batman, has some emphasis on Thomas Wayne and his connection to the Riddler. But anyways, I like the use of Thomas Wayne because him being the mayor and whatnot, and having this power and influence and effect over the city, and how that indirectly or in some ways directly affects Arthur and his character growth. I like that they still had a connection, and I do agree that if there were to be further movies and they were to take this the route of like having Batman eventually be in this universe, that they have a very strong start by connecting Joker to Thomas, by having that interaction already between Arthur and Bruce and whatnot. I think they have some interesting things set up. I just never see them actually doing it. But that's all I was going to point out is like, I like how they brought in Thomas Wayne and still connected it to the universe, but it didn't feel like they were overly relying on things that we know from the Batman universe. Like even the moment of like Batman's parents and whatnot getting killed in the alleyway at the end of the movie, that was like the only moment that was a little like really like we're going this far with it. But like everything besides that, I thought was done very well.
Yeah, I do want to clarify that I think that was like as I mentioned, a great set. His parents dying, a great setup for this Gotham, and if like this Gotham were to continue, as I mentioned, like it was a great catalyst, and I think it was poetic that Joker was kind of like the inciting incident there. But I also, at the same time, I thought it was like ham-fisted because I've always been one of these people. Like, people constantly complain about how many times we've seen Uncle Ben die. How many times have we seen Batman's fucking parents die, dude? How many times do we need to watch that? Like, didn't Justice League start with it? Like, what are we doing? Or no, it was Batman v Superman. I don't know. Who cares, bro? We get it. We get that that's how he becomes this. Golly, that's less important than. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that. Actually, I take that back. Forget what I was saying.
Charlie spazzing, ladies and gentlemen.
I just got a lot of thoughts, bro. Fuck
Yeah.
the Hollywood Star Walk of Fame.
Anything else? And with that,
I just wish Ben had a camera. That's about it.
yeah.
Brother.
R.I.P. Ben's camera. We will see it again next week, hopefully. And with that, next week, we will be covering doubleheader, because tomorrow the new Penguin series comes out, and I believe, is Agatha out tonight or is it tomorrow?
No.
At 2
It's got
a.m.
to be tomorrow.
I think it's tomorrow.
They
Yeah,
changed
tomorrow
it to
at
like
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
That's right. Yeah, I totally forgot. Agatha and Penguin doubleheader episodes coming to you weekly. And if anything were to change, we'll be here to let you know. Charlie will be missed.
Yeah, I won't be.
Or next
week, actually. Yeah, next week. I'm gone next week.
I really hope Ben's camera's working. I'm just going to be front and center. Charlie will be missed next week, but we will be sure to get all his thoughts the following. Be here for weekly discussions of the Penguin and Agatha, me, Ben, and Charlie. And I believe that's it. Anyone else want to add anything in before we go?
If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, please, so we can buy Benji a new camera because he's a little broke guy. If you're on any podcast listening platform, please drop us a review. We would really appreciate it. And please drop us a comment, drop us some fan mail. We would love to read you out loud at the beginning of every episode. Not every episode. Let me clear. Not like we'll read you once, and then we're not gonna continue to read your message. You get the idea. Just do that. Do that, and we'd appreciate you guys. I mean, we appreciate you now. I'm yapping. You guys get it.
We'd appreciate you a little more if you did that.
Yeah, you're a little special. You're a little special, little boo-boo face in my mind. A little special little guy. But
yeah, you
I
could
think
stop.
that's it.
Yeah, let's get him out of there.
Gosh. Oh my
He
gosh.
said, yeah, you can stop.
Benji, you get what you fucking deserve. All right. Thank you guys so much. Adios.
Peace.
Sayonara.